Hey, welcome to X3, One Topic, Three Pundits. I'm your host, John C. Dvorak. I'm here with Joe Engo and Andrew Eisner in reverse order. By the way, anyone who watches and enjoys the show, you might want to watch it live when we do it on Justin.tv, and there's also a chat room there. And we do the show typically Wednesdays, Pacific time around noon, sometimes 12:30. It's in that time frame usually. If we do this, sometimes we skip a week. Here's how you can figure it out. If the Giants are having a home day game, we're not going to do the show. There's no parking. These guys are sold out all the time now, the world champs. So those days, forget. But anyway, go to justin.tv/X3 show, and you can chime in. Participate. Sure. You can become part of the show. Yeah. Meanwhile, people are getting tired of having their phones become obsolete overnight. Apparently, your group over at Retrevo has done some research.
That's right.
Tell us about it.
Well, Retrevo.com, the company that generously provides my time for this show, has done a study and also combined with a technology life cycle analysis that first we determined that looking at cell phone features or smartphone features, that they typically become obsolete about once a year. And we also counted up the number of smartphones released in the last year. It was about the staggering 120 smartphones. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise you to learn that smartphones are coming out at this alarming rate. The problem is that the contracts for the carriers are 2 years, and they actually are cracking down more and more on making it more and more difficult to get out with higher early termination fees and such. So we did a study that found that, lo and behold, smartphone owners feel their phones are either obsolete right now or will be obsolete before the contract time's out.
Oh, that's a shame.
So what are they going to do? What's a smartphone owner to do?
I feel so sorry for these people.
Well, see, not everybody can be as fortunate as you and to have smartphone vendors shower you.
I'm not showered. I got a phone.
Well, you've got the new Nexus phone, but there are plenty of people that are stuck with older generation phones. I mean, now 4G's coming out, and dual core phones and 1080p phones, and your old phone is just sitting there looking kind of.
What are you going to do with a 1080p phone? Let me give you a little piece of information that was given to me. Panasonic makes all these plasmas, and they did a study on this. At least this is what they say, but I'll report it. They say that you cannot, if you're sitting watching the television, a big television, from any normal watching distance.
I know what you're going to say, but that's not true. Go
At
ahead.
50 inches is the cutoff point where you can tell the difference between 720p and 1080p. It has to actually be 55
I heard it
inches.
was 45 inches. But now, depending on the size of the set, there is actually an optimal viewing distance. So I have a 61-inch set, and I think my optimal viewing distance is 5.5 feet or something like that. So anything more than that, you will notice
Wait a minute. 5 feet away.
5.5, no, that actually does.
You got to be 10 feet away from that.
Yeah, I forget the exact distances, but there's an optimal distance. I actually haven't measured out, and our couch is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Like a billionaire friend of mine once said, and I'm not going to say who he is, said, "They want a bigger TV? Stand closer." He was cheap. He's a cheap guy.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It could be any of them.
Yeah, and the fact that you're partially right, because most of the content actually coming from cable and satellite is only a 1080i or 720p. I mean, they don't even send 1080p content over the air. But
I would be really shocked if somebody could tell the difference between P and I on that.
I can. I look at a Blu-ray disc. In fact, some of the new Blu-ray discs now, I don't know whether they're mastering them better, but they seem to be getting better all the time. They're really crystal clear.
Or you're talking about new movies, though?
Yeah,
the cameras that they're using are just much higher quality.
And some of the new shows, in HD are just amazingly sharp. And you've got a lot of things, gadgets that upscale. DVD players will upscale at 1080p. So I think 1080p is definitely something that you want.
But we're talking about a phone.
Well, because you're ultimately going to show that video on your 1080p.
Really?
Yeah, but then it's going to be shaking like this. And
no, he's thinking you're going to hook the HDMI cable and blow it onto the TV, just burning out the phone, I suppose.
So you don't seem to be that outraged by the fact that carriers are locking everybody into this 2-year contract.
I've been outraged about
it. Well, you can upgrade after 18 months, though, even though you're in a 2-year contract.
Well, actually 20 months is now, I think they maybe.
Oh, have they been upping it? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean,
no, I'm not that outraged. For one thing, what difference does it make if you have? I mean, what? Oh, they're getting all obsolete. How obsolete are they getting? I mean, I have a Nexus 1, I have a Nexus S, or whatever this thing is, and it's like the difference is minor. And this is like 2 generations newer.
Well, that's a dual core, I think, isn't it? So
probably.
For one thing, so
it's got
faster,
honeycomb,
higher resolution.
It does this, it does that.
Yeah, so I mean.
Well, we compare the difference between the iPhone 3GS and the iPhone 4. There's a substantial speed difference.
But it's only the screen that's the real difference.
No, it's not. It's a whole new processor. Yeah. It's way faster. It's got double the memory. It's got better video. It's got better, picture quality. I mean, it's substantially different.
Yeah.
But it's a lousy phone, everyone says.
I disagree with that, but.
Well, that's because.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
We won't get into it.
This is what Retrevo found, and I'm sticking with it.
I think it's a fascinating story.
I think also one of the problems is that, HTC, how many phones do they release every year? It's like they release 40, 50 phones every year.
That's right.
Well, of course people are going to feel like they're being obsolete.
You buy a phone today,
you got tomorrow there's 3
so it's almost cruel to what these guys are doing. They're oh, here's this brand new phone, but you can't have it. You've got to wait 2 years for it.
Or you can pay $300
or get an unlocked
in the early days when cell phones started getting jazzy, before they were even smart, but they were just all different. And you'd go out to dinner with a bunch of geeks, and there'd be like
everybody's showing off.
They'd all pull the phones out. Boom! There'd be a pile of look, this phone is new.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the camera on this one. This has got a megapixel. And everyone would be looking at each other's phones, and you finally decided the winner. And I guess somebody bought him a beer.
Yeah.
But it's like this is I don't know. A phone's a phone, as far as I'm concerned. You've been watching X3.